Woman tortured to death in horrific sorcery-related killing. Transparency International raises alarm on money laundering. And one man's ambition turning honey waste to soap.
This is National MTV News with Dennis Orere.
Hello and welcome. This is Thursday's news. In a week when a historic first inquiry and public hearings of Papua New Guinea's Special Parliamentary Committee on Gender-Based Violence was held, another killing of a woman accused of sorcery surfaced. The 30-year-old woman from Hela province was among others suspected of sorcery. Her tormentors brutally ended her life, but the video which captured the horrific scenes were being posted on Facebook, which left many shattered and distressed. A warning, some scenes in this story may be disturbing. The victim, Mary Kopari, was 30 years old and a mother to a girl 16 years of age on the day of the killing, which was on May 7. Being married to Magarima district, she had lived there for more than 12 years on her husband's land, even after her husband left her. She was arrested by the village community and burnt at night after being suspected, along with few other women, of being responsible for the death of a 2-year-old child that day. The other women fled when some men went and burnt down the house where the women lived. Mary was busy selling boiled potato at the Magarima station market, unaware of the child's death, when the community arrested her at around 1 p.m. and took her captive. The rest of the community was told to stay away from interfering in the passing of the judgment for what they called Sanguma Mary. And they burned her body up alive as she screamed for help. Then they cut her limbs before transporting the body to Tigibi in Hulia LLG, where police were eventually informed about the incident. The Tari Police Criminal Investigation Division confirmed the incident yesterday, saying they eventually brought the body to Tari Hospital, where a post-mortem was conducted. No arrests have been made as yet, but police are continuing investigations. A brother of the victim, Payawi Tayawi, has strongly condemned the killing of his sister, saying this sort of violence in burning alive of women must be stopped. He said he wants justice for his sister as he reported the matter to police. PNG's Special Parliamentary Committee on GBV concluded in Port Mosby on Tuesday this week with a historic first inquiry and public hearings into violence against women. The two-day session held from the 24th to the 25th of May at APEC House was led by Committee Chair and Alotau MP Charles Abel, aimed at understanding the challenges faced by GBV survivors and service providers. The inquiry focused to identify gaps in the system and make recommendations to Parliament on the way forward, with a priority to investigate roadblocks behind funding and implementation of the 2016 to 2025 National GBV Strategy. As part of the historic event, the committee learned about the challenges faced by those trying to support people suffering from sorcery accusation-related violence. Representatives from Tribal Foundation said during the deliberations that any woman who is accused of sorcery are now having their children at risk of the same violence, and that cases must be prosecuted to send a message that they cannot be targeted. Concerns were raised on what is happening to women and children in sorcery-related violence, which they say is beyond what one animal would savagely do to another, and that efforts need to be made to go after the glassmen, the witch doctors who are playing on local fears to make money. Questions were raised on how quickly the police need to go to a village and what should they do when sorcery-related violence is alleged. What services should the survivors be receiving from health service providers and police officers? These questions and more were raised as the discussions on sorcery-related violence went on. A family PNG representative listed out the challenges of dealing with high-profile perpetrators who bent the law to avoid arrest and intimidate the survivor. As deliberations and efforts to curb gender-based violence increases, it is hoped that cases like Mary Kopari's and many others that have gone before her will be a thing of the past in the not-too-distant future. Transparency International PNG has called for government action on money laundering cases in PNG that have gone largely uninvestigated. The call comes ahead of next year's meeting of the Asia-Pacific Group of Money Laundering. TIPNG Chairman Peter Aitzi says the lack of collaboration between enforcement agencies and the lack of funding support were some of the primary causes of the delay.
At the Transparency International National Integrity Summit held this month, senior members of lead government enforcement agencies spoke out about the need for closer cooperation. The solution to work together is obvious, however, that doesn't really happen in the real world for many reasons. And there are a collection of reasons why that collaboration doesn't happen.
A lot of the presenters that spoke at the summit made reference to the NACA, the National Anti-Corruption Alliance, which was a grouping of agencies that was very active 10 years ago. In the absence of that group, this is the National Anti-Corruption Alliance, the agencies indicated that they weren't able to be as effective because they weren't sharing information across.
At least one agency said sharing information would be a breach of privacy, and that extends to other line agencies as well in one form or another. TIPNG's concern is that without this cooperation and action into many instances of money laundering, PNG's international ranking will drop. A lower classification means lower investment confidence and a host of other problems.
If PNG is not compliant or is not seen as not enforcing the anti-money laundering laws, we may well slip back into what they call the grey list, which is a ranking or a rating given to countries that are not complying with the anti-money laundering laws. So as a result, this would mean that the cost of doing business in PNG would be significantly higher. Any foreign investment that comes into the country may well be impacted because the level of risk in terms of the investment climate within the country would be significantly higher.
One of the primary enforcement agencies is the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary through the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate, headed by Detective Chief Superintendent Matthew Damaru. Over the past 10 years, the NFAC's funding has been cut, making it ineffective in pursuing investigations. Damaru says interagency cooperation is essential and funding investigations is crucial.
Our agencies, our legislation is working. Our processes are effective, that we can be able to do this. But without funding, we cannot do that.
As a regulator, the Bank of Papua New Guinea has sent more than 10,000 files to other government enforcement agencies to investigate instances of money laundering. A vast majority of those cases haven't been investigated. Prosecution and conviction almost nil. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
With less than a week away from polling in the Mosby Northwest by-election seat, rallies have hyped up in the last few days, with candidates speaking at various parts of the city in the Mosby Northwest electorate. Last night, the Pangu party, led by Prime Minister James Marape, accompanied the intending candidate Lohia Boy Samuel to Hanuabada village for the rally.
Prime Minister James Marape, speaking at the rally last night at Hanuabada, was so vocal on the importance of leadership in the country. PM Marape says good leadership is vital for a resource-filled country like PNG.
Countries are made by leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. At all levels of society, rising up to the top, and organization, our village, our church, our ministry, our country moves and electorate moves because of leadership.
The country's CEO has thrown his support for the Pangu-endorsed candidate, lawyer Boy Samuel, who is campaigning under the name LBS. PM Marape says he is confident in the leadership LBS has shown and can make a difference at the national level.
Today I come to you in Hanobada not because lawyer is a son of Hanobada Motu Koita's son. I see Hanobada as a national leader who can come and fit in with the body of leaders we have and change our country for the better and never to remain the same again.
The intending candidate couldn't resist speaking to his people in the native Motuan language. He says much cannot be done within this short period of time, but his focus is on youth and women empowerment.
In 9 months, you cannot achieve a lot. We came up with a very simple commitment, and not an election gimmick or a promise. It had a youth empowerment program, it had a SME.
Pangu party members and some cabinet ministers who also spoke last night urged the people of Motu Koita to vote for their own son LBS to be their voice in parliament. Lands Minister John Rosso highly spoke of the Pangu-led government, stating the country has seen change under their leadership.
We have been in power for 2 years. You cannot fix things in 2 years, but we have a prime minister who always thinks for his people. Now time and win. I'm not going to sit on the side of the table or array table. I'm going to sit down straight. When the Pangu party, the ruling party in government at the moment, na bami black and straight him, na album all heavy, na problem blue black.
LBS will host his final rally at Morata tomorrow before polling begins next week. Suli National MTV News.
The advocacy on national vaccination rollout under the Sleeves Up theme continued yesterday at CS College at Bomana outside Port Mosby. Dr. Desi Mekonnen, a representative from the World Health Organization and an expert on immunization in the country, emphasized the importance of vaccinating essential staff, which CS cadets were categorized under. A total of 134 CS cadets attended the advocacy program.
Over 100 CS cadets attended the advocacy campaign headed by the World Health Organization, National Department of Health and UNICEF. These cadets will soon pass out from the CS institution to join their fellow colleagues in less than 48 hours. The advocacy is purposely aimed to clarify misperceptions about the vaccine against the deadly pandemic. For CS, the awareness is a way forward for the institution.
So that's why we bring our partners here that always bring you some message come to you even myself too. Because me not clear too much to what I do go over you stuff. With our partners here on the ground, they will give us some good messages, they will drive the information. So we pick up the information from them, then we will move on.
A member of the National Control Center also spoke during the session. The program also saw interactions between the cadets and the facilitators. Most questions were based around the vaccine's side effects, manufacturing of the vaccine and process like mandatory vaccination regarding overseas travel.
I heard rumors, so I'm just asking, is there anybody in Papua New Guinea who was, after taking the vaccine, got blood clot and died? Like you can assure us on that.
The advocacy is part of COVID-19 Vaccine Champion program aimed to protect communities and save lives. Rebecca Pero is one of the CS cadet. She says the interaction cleared cloudy areas most people ponder about the vaccination. She says it's also timely and important for A and other cadets.
And give me some clear ideas and by helping me protect him sick in a me deal with all the tennis because now so all prisoner all operating me now all officers law this last sick.
The advocacy program is part of a major vaccination awareness program rollout throughout the country. With vaccination reaching almost all provinces in the country, experts want to drive the message of hope while dispelling uncertainties circulating in the public.
The program that we just had, it's a really nice program. And also it's a global program where I see that it will help individuals through this pandemic that we are currently facing.
Jack LaPava Jr., National MTV News.
The COVID-19 statistic update in the country as of Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. 47 new cases were reported in the country, with Eastern Highlands reporting the highest at 18. The accumulative total of cases reported stands at over 15,000, with 14,343 recovered cases. 3 new deaths have been recorded in Jiwaka, bringing the death toll now to 162. You're watching National MTV News. More stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary recently launched their 10-year corporate plan 2021 to 2030. The corporate plan outlines the organization's goals and strategies which the constabulary will employ over the next 10 years to fulfill its constitutional mandate.
Thank you very much.
A small ceremony yesterday saw senior officers from the constabulary, government officials and partners all attended. The 10-year corporate plan 2021 to 2030 outlines the constabulary's goals and strategies for the next 10 years. Police Commissioner David Mending described the event as a milestone achievement for the constabulary. The corporate plan was officially launched by Police Minister William Onglo.
So this corporate plan is basically reinforcing or even recommitting the organization to not only rebuilding the force, but refocusing as to what we do on a day-to-day basis in terms of providing a policing service for our people.
According to the Police Commissioner, this is the first 10-year corporate plan after many years, and the plan strengthens their commitment to rebuild the police force to better serve the people. Police Minister William Onglo further highlighted the challenges the constabulary is facing in its administrations and operations. The constraints on effective policing include budget and funding challenges, in-service police training, recruitment and inadequate capacity and resources for investigations and prosecutions, and the implementation of the 10-year corporate plan will help address these challenges.
So there's a lot of things in there. We have the true cost of policing document that it very much provides a very strategic guideline as to what it needs to financially to run a force in the country, and of course that provides us the strategic justification as when we ask every year in the budget cycle when we develop our budgets.
The Police Commissioner further sees the corporate plan as a signal for accountability at all levels of the command structure of the force. He says the corporate plan recognizes the need for the constabulary to strengthen accountability and good governance. He challenged the members of the constabulary to understand the corporate plan and work together to rebuild the constabulary.
It's very much the corporate plan is not only for the purpose of the constabulary, but for the purpose of our development partners and others to understand how best they can support.
Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
The Labu Tale community in the Huon Gulf district of Morobe is the recipient of a clean water supply project funded under the National Fisheries Authority Department's Social Corporate Responsibility. Labu Tale community's issue of clean and safe water supply was raised to the office by the ward councillor through a letter to NFA. Minister for Fisheries and Marine Resources Dr. Lino Tom officiated at the opening of the project last week.
This is Labu Tale in the Wampar LLG of Huon Gulf District, Morobe. It is one of the 3 Labu communities located a few kilometers northeast of Lake City. Women from Labu Tale used to travel by canoe to a distance over 50 meters and then another 60 meters trek up a mountain before they reach clean running water for cooking and drinking. This concern was raised to the National Fisheries Authority Department by the ward councillor that made Labu Tale community a recipient of the department's social corporate responsibility.
Mama all struggle halo coaxing water a long way come all months away cross na fighting all na burki suspense something long all. Also na mi yet mi right go minister blow fisheries, lo helping me, lo bringing water come lo here.
Fisheries Minister Dr. Lino Tom, who was present to officiate the opening ceremony of the water project, called on the Labutale community to look after the project.
Money, private money, pocket money, blow me come giving you blah, and money blow you play it. And money blow people. People member na leader, people staff custodian, people staff of small man will look out him resource na money blow you blah.
Labutale was identified as a special economic zone for Mosby Province early this year by Deputy Prime Minister Sam Basil. It is one of the 64 wards in the UN Gulf District, headed by the District MP Ross Simo.
MD, you picking blow one part, na picking blow here, na picking blow UN Gulf District. Before anything else, keep pumping that money into UN Gulf District. Our people out there that needs similar.
National Fisheries Authority Managing Director John Kasu, who was also present, said the department has plans to move into each provinces to empower the people in fisheries and community services such as the water supply project.
And it's about going into the provinces, trying to empower more people living, low kind work inside of fisheries, and not only fisheries, but look all different services. Now, one blow also give me now, but you open him and blow water services.
In terms of coming up with a 10-year strategic plan. That plan is essentially the roadmap set by us to convert PNG or translate PNG from basically a coastal state to a fishing state.
Julie Badui, OA, National EMTV News.
With agriculture sector given the attention by the government, cooperative groups is part of a wider framework to enhance the industry. Setavai Women in Agriculture in the Hiri East of Central Province launched its establishment yesterday as a step forward to engage women in agriculture.
The Setavai Women in Agriculture Cooperative covers women from Seme, Dagoda and Vaivai communities, a group formed to encourage women till the land for economic growth and be self-reliant through agriculture activities. With over 50 members, the women are pushing for a greater purpose to support their life.
Now our membership is 50 membership from Seme, Dagoda and Vaivai. We formed this group. Okay. So we are happy. This launch should bring change to our community. Listen to husbands, wife, and children.
The Setavai Cooperative is now a registered entity. The group is now focused to engage women in different agriculture programs. The cooperative theme is Support Each Other for Life. A crucial link and a must-move is the financial stance of the group that will assist back its operation. An officer from the Women's Microbank says the cooperative must be financially healthy.
In your group, every time you have a meeting, you can put your 5 kina, 10 kina in, and the treasurer will get that money all in that account book that I will show, and take it to the bank and deposit your money monthly, and you will see your account will grow.
Prior to the launch, Karakoiri MP Peter Isoaimo encouraged women not to miss this chance. He says land is available and people must work it. Despite the drip and drops of the DSIP funding, Isoaimo says the DDA is prioritizing commitments to improve the life of people in the electorate.
Getting together and cooperating, I think, is the theme that should be emphasized. We should make gardens and barter with the coastal ones.
Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
One man in Eastern Highlands Province has ventured into producing medicated soap using waste from honey. Barclay Kaupa has been a bee farmer for over 20 years, and instead of throwing the waste away, he is using it to make honey medicated soap and laundry powder. But like many small businesses, the impacts of COVID-19 have devastated his business.
Barclay Kaupa is a honeybee farmer who also produces several products made from honey. He has been in the organic honey business for the past 21 years. While honey is good business, he has ventured into other byproducts like laundry powder and medicated soap. This was his small stall at the announcement of the support by the Livestock Development Corporation to bee farmers in the Highlands region. He proudly displayed his products.
Planti country now worklo trimlo rausimsla trimlo down in toxic level inside all products. Mibla loya tu mibla worklo mibla trim best lo making this la work now lo down in no crow so you buy them very low lo toxic.
Honey is a natural humectant. This means it absorbs moisture from the air. Humectants are great for the skin as they can help the skin retain moisture. Honey is also antibacterial. It helps to keep bacterial irritations on the skin at bay. Barclay wasted no time in explaining this to the Agriculture Minister John Simon about the medical aspect of the honey soap he produces. He has plans to increase production and expand his business, but at this stage he does not have the capacity to do so. He employs about 7 people with his family, often assisting with labor. Through the brand name Nokorawa, he supplies laundry powder to 3 motels in Goroka, but since COVID-19, orders have been behind schedule. He eventually let go of 2 staff.
Because the capacity very low. Mibla salim within lo Goroka na Chimbuta sol. Mibla salim lo all big la leading source sol. Mibla lo out but and then all molds mibla got them legally through. Okay. Lo powder tu mibla looking at the demand grow but machine manual na hatrul so mibla working legally tasol na mibla oglo supply one all hotels mibla gim bulk lo all na kind of tasol mibla oglo making stuff.
Smallholders like Barclay are paving the way for downstream processing but need support. For Barclay, he was in luck having the Agriculture Minister visit his stall. The minister was impressed and has vowed to support him. Not all hope is lost for farmers like Barclay, as the Eastern Highlands Provincial Government last week signed an MOU with the Livestock Development Corporation to build the Goroka Agro Park. Apart from plans to set up factories, the Agro Park will create a one-stop shop for farmers to display, market and sell their products. Barclay, like many, is very passionate about what he does. So despite challenges of a small business, giving up is not an option.
Me been come out now. Start working on downstream processing and plant the line work. I can be an working. You me slave for from long time through you me slave. Come a slave. Na you talk lo slave was planting something planting product jam lo was easy na planting something mibla na working mibla salim raw material you out na this la belat making na to mibla need lo working something so time mibla start lo working motivating na me working.
Shamit Poreambep, National MTV News.
You're with National MTV News. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back. Porebada Primary School received 1,000 library books from New Power Limited and shareholders Oil Search and Kumul Petroleum this morning. Porebada Primary School's head teacher Jack Mario says the presentation is timely as the school is lacking learning materials.
The 1,000 library books presented to Porebada Primary School included teachers' resource materials, encyclopedias, reference books for children, children's reading books, and many more. This is part of New Power's Community Investment Program for Education Support, where they invested 20,000 to cover schools in 5 villages, namely Porebada, Boira, Papa, Lealea, and Kido, all in the PNG LNG impacted area.
In partnership with Book Block Pikinini on this occasion, supporting the school, and we're happy to donate these 1,000 books
New Power Limited, with shareholders Oil Search Limited and Kumul Petroleum Limited, in partnership with Book Belong Pikinini, have visited and donated 1,000 books to Porabada Elementary School in May last year as well. Porabada Primary School's head teacher Jack Mario acknowledged the support that the team has given and says it will see them through for a long time.
First time that we are receiving donations from our good partners, New Power. Thank you very much.
Books that are in front of us, and these are the very, very important things that are here. And I want to appeal to you students to take ownership and take care of these books and have a lot of interest in reading these books.
Mr. Mario also raised issues that the school is facing regarding the school's infrastructure, teachers' houses, and the fact that the school doesn't have a school signboard. New Power Limited External Affairs Manager Wellington Belawa says the school could send their requests for assistance in through their ward councillor, who will then advise the team and they will facilitate. Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
10 lucky children from the Book Belong Pikinini's library learning centers were privileged in a field trip today at Hastings Deering. The children witnessed the world's biggest caterpillar vehicle, D11T, and other heavy-duty vehicles. The D11T Caterpillars is the largest tractor produced in the world.
With early childhood education and learning about future jobs being their priority, these 10 happy children from Book Belong Pikinini learned what it takes to drive such heavy vehicles.
Danny? Okay, I got one mechanic tour.
The children in particular witnessed the largest caterpillar type tractor produced in the world.
When you step on your brake, you'll see brake light comes on.
Seeing the vehicles and equipment up close, Book Belong Pikinini's executive officer Lian Reson says such trips help children to set clear goals.
These field trips and the books that we develop around the When I Grow Up series, it's to motivate children to see education as a pathway, in their learning journey. And as they grow older, they come to understand the importance of that and what they aim to be in the future.
Reson says this excursion will now allow Book Belong Pikinini to create a story about heavy equipment operator. Porivai, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The 2021 Digital Cup scheduled to start this Saturday, May 29, 2021, following a postponement 3 weeks ago due to members of one of the Digital Cup team testing positive for COVID-19, is again further rescheduled to next week, Saturday, the 5th of June 2021.
The Digital Cup 2021 season is set for a 5th June kickoff after a COVID-19 infection of 2 players caused the delay. It was agreed after an urgent meeting with all franchise chairmen, CEOs and managers on the 9th of May that for the 2021 competition to proceed, it was in the best interest of all to recommend that all players and staff be vaccinated. Chairman of the Papua New Guinea National Rugby League competition, Adrian Chow, said the vaccination idea was relayed to the Office of the Pandemic Controller, who gave conditional endorsement. The first 2 weeks since May 10, Doctors Kapua Kapua, Gideon Candino and Ivan Ravu Jr. conducted awareness sessions with all franchise players, staff and officials on any doubts they may have on being vaccinated so that as individuals they could make an informed choice. Chow said as of yesterday, Wednesday 26th of May, 9 franchise players and staff had undergone vaccinations, while the rest were scheduled to get theirs towards the end of this week. Match officials identified and nominated to officiate all Digital Cup games will also get vaccination. Chow said all players, staff and officials that have been vaccinated are reminded to get their green forms through to the PNG NRLC manager Ora Gairo as soon as possible to have them registered and be eligible to take part in this season's Digital Cup competition. Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
In round 9 of the 2018 NRL season, Justin Olam made his NRL debut in the centres for the Melbourne Storm against the St George Illawarra Dragons. Tonight, he will clock his 50th game. In a special captain's run for the Melbourne Storm yesterday, teammate and friend Tui Kamikamika presented Olam's 50th game jersey.
Justin Olam will play his 50th game tonight in the Indigenous round of NRL when Melbourne Storm go head-to-head with the Brisbane Broncos at Suncorp Stadium.
Yeah, I was happy to play just one game. I was happy to play one game and go back home, but to play 50 games, it's I'm blessed 50 times and I'm living my childhood dreams 50 times, so can't ask for more. Just want to say thank you to everyone who's helped me along the way. All my families back at home and friends, I wish they all, at least one of them would be here to watch me play my 50, but I know they'll be watching me back at home and there, so yeah, thank you.
In a special captain's run yesterday, Jazzy was presented his 50th games jersey by teammate Tui Kamikamika.
It was an honor for me and a privilege to present Jazzy's 50th NRL game. Presenting this jersey was I know how hard you work since day one, pre-season all the way till last year. You had a good season, won a premiership. I reckon you had probably the best son in the game.
Receiving the gift from Tui is extra special, says Olam.
Very special to me. Me and Tui came down together same time, and yeah, it's coming from Papua New Guinea. I knew nothing about Australia. I've never lived here before. I've never been here before as well, so the lifestyle and everything like this is different. But having someone like Tui, we pretty much understood each other. We came from like the same background, and we pretty much understand each other. So it's a big part of my development in Storm. To have someone like that around me, and I hang around with or go out with and do things together. So to get my jersey presented by him, it's pretty special to me, and I'm pretty happy.
With the Storm set to play Broncos tonight, the Storm Centre says Brisbane will come out fighting, but so will the Storm.
It is always going to be a fight when it comes to Broncos and Storm. It's always been like this. Every time when we play them, we don't underestimate them. We have a lot of respect for them, but in saying that, we believe in ourselves as well, and we're going to go out there and do our job. We have something to prove to ourselves as well. They come at the back of a good win last week, and they got new players as well, and once they win they want to get one more, so I'm sure they're going to come out fighting for it, and we're not going to back down. We're going to give the same, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The only other PNG international straight from domestic competition is Marcus Bai, who in his span of career in NRL clocked in 144 games with 70 tries with the Melbourne Storm from 1998 to 2003. For Olam, it has been a roller coaster from his first NRL game in 2018 to being part of the Premiership titleist of 2020 and now clocking his 50th game with 23 tries to date.
I want to say thank you to the man upstairs. I wouldn't be here without him. Like I said, I was happy to play one game, so to hopefully inspire some of my young boys back in PNG, who have the same dream. And that's but I was pretty much blessed 50 times to live my childhood dreams 50 times.
Kilawani, Trukai Sports.
That story wraps up Trukai Sports, the weather report for the next 24 hours when we come back.
Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Regional weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby mostly fine and windy, Daru fine and windy, Kerma mostly fine, Alotau and Popondetta cloudy periods with brief overnight showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for Thursday, the 27th of May 2021. Pleasant viewing. Be safe. Bye for now.